Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with What Are You Listening to Lately? Now, I've been listening to something lately because, well, it's something that I just enjoy, first of all, but second of all, because I've been looking at stuff to do for my series on people who played the premieres of things and then went on to make recordings. And that was one thing. And the other thing is, as I've been, schlepping through random reviews from the overflow room, I was dealing with the end of the S's, Szymanowski specifically, and I came across this. His Fourth Symphony, also known as the Symphonie concertante, Opus 60, played by Artur Rubinstein with the Los Angeles Philharmonic Orchestra and Alfred Wallenstein, conductor. Now, the piece was dedicated to Rubinstein, but he didn't play the premiere, so I couldn't really stick it in that series of, well, they gave the premiere and then made recordings, but he was the dedicatee. And this was recorded in 1947 in rather good sound, actually. The premiere was played by the composer, by Szymanowski himself. So, I mean, in a way, I could do this, couldn't I? Because it was dedicated to Rubinstein, and he did play it and make a record. Unfortunately, he didn't re-record it as he did so many other things. But I wanted to take a moment just to talk about what it kind of meant back in 1947 to do a completely new piece. It was written in the early 1930s, as I said, by a composer who most people had never heard of. That was really rather nice of Rubinstein to do it. I mean, he was famous pianist in the 40s, of course, and it couldn't have sold very much. I can't imagine there was a lot of potential for sales. This disc also includes, by the way, a fabulous Nights in the Gardens of Spain with the San Francisco Symphony and Enrique Jorda, and Liszt's first piano concerto with the Dallas Symphony and Antal Dorati. I really love this record. This is like one of my favorite Rubinstein concerto records, just for what's on it and how well he does it. And, when it was made, he was really at his peak. It's just beautiful. Anyway, but the Symphonie concertante is what we're talking about. It's a gorgeous piece of music. I've seen it performed live once. I actually had the opportunity to see someone play it, which was very exciting. It's not very long. It's 22 minutes, 21 minutes and 46 seconds here. It runs about 22 minutes. There are very few poor recordings of it because people who play it tend to know it and love it. It has a wonderful mixture. Szymanowski was a composer whose style started off kind of late romantic, Richard Straussy. Then he became extremely chromatic, like late Scriabin. Then he discovered Polish folk music, and he started writing pieces that were imbued with this sort of rhythmic urgency and also simple folk harmonies and melodies quite often. And this piece, which is quite late, from the 1930s, because Szymanowski died in 1937. So this was only 5 years before he died that he gave the premiere. It has all of those qualities. There's a certain voluptuous sensuality for that opening theme. Da 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 da. Ya da 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 da. Oh, it's just sort of this languorous, beautiful thing. And then the finale has just this tremendous with this rhythmic verve to it that was really new to his music. He was a fascinating composer. He was one who continued to evolve as his music went on. And he wasn't that old when he passed away. He was, 1882 to 1937. So that's not old at all. That's like what, 50, 55 or so, right? Something like that. Or 65. No, it's 55. So, my goodness, who knows where his music would have gone had he lived another 10 or 20 years and written more. He was really going like gangbusters when he finally died. So I all I can say is, if you don't know this particular work, sometimes it's called Symphony No. 4 or Symphonie concertante. You owe it to yourself to hear it. There is no other piano and orchestra work of the 20th century that sounds quite like it, that has that special mix of characteristics that's typical of Szymanowski's output. And Rubinstein, I mean, thank goodness he lived to record it because it had a chance. Let's put it this way. It didn't work out that way, but he gave it a shot. Sometimes a great artist records something which is dedicated to them and it immediately enters the repertoire and everything is fine with the universe. It didn't happen with this piece. I'm not sure why it didn't happen with this piece. It should have, because it has every quality that should make it a popular hit. It really does. Maybe it's just a little too short. Maybe no other pianists were interested in doing it after Rubinstein recorded it. But, if there had been any justice in the world, he would have made this recording in 1957, and lots of other pianists would have said, oh, look at what he's doing. It's terrific. Let's do that. And they all would have done it, and the rest would have been history. But as it was, we have this historical recording, and many, many since. Thank goodness. It's finally sort of popped up, and I would love to go hear it live again. I really would. And if you ever see someone doing it, go see it. It's great. It's fun. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks so much for joining me. Take care.